心の中で3回唱えろ。ヒーロー剣山、ヒーロー剣山、ヒーロー剣山。そうすりゃオイラがやってくる。
ちょっと通してください。選手が出ます。
ピンポン星からやってくる。シャー。
Anime can exist on a large spectrum of genres. On one side of the spectrum, you could have a realistic story of a man learning to be a father through adoption, and on the other, you could have the story of an alien hunter who essentially becomes God in 48 episodes. I think out of everything, one of my favorite genres has to be the sports one. It's a genre which I think reigns superior to juggernauts of the industry like cute girls do cute things and, oh no, I got sent to another world and this title has another 50 words to it. It's a genre which consistently puts out quality shows. Shows like Hajime no Ippo, Slam Dunk, Kuroko no Basket, Haikyuu, Run with the Wind, and I could go on and on. But out of all of these, one show lies on top for me, and that's Ping Pong the Animation. Ping Pong the Animation is a coming-of-age story that follows the narrative of 4 boys and how they grow throughout 2 years of high school. Every character is unique, with their own development to match. In the show, we have people like Kong Wenge, who risked everything on the world of ping pong, only for him to lose the game and consequently lose his entire life as he knew it. Along with that, we have people like Peko, a childhood prodigy, where a loss caused him to question his self-worth, and if he could ever be good enough. We have people like Smile, who never really saw the reason for living till he started playing ping pong. He found a joy in ping pong that he couldn't find anywhere else, but with time, that joy faded. And to conclude everything, we have people like Kazuma, people who have been at the top of the table tennis world for so long, but at the same time hasn't felt enjoyment for just as long. The pressure to win by his family, his friends, his school, the country becomes crippling. He has to essentially lock himself up in a cell just to get his nerves to calm down. It's a show that really isn't about the sport of ping pong, but the people who play it. It's a character study which analyzes themes of nihilism, talent, dreams, and pressure. It's a truly special show which was able to accomplish so much in its short 11-episode runtime. What does it mean to compete? To compete is to strive to outdo another. In a race, you compete to see who will finish faster. For companies, it's to see who will make more of a profit. For Tetsuya Nomura, the creator of Kingdom Hearts, it's to see who can make a more convoluted story, him or God. No matter what it's for, one thing stays constant about competition, and that's the outcome. There's always going to be a winner and a loser. And while we have our preconceptions about winning and losing, like how winning will bring joy and glory, while losing will bring sorrow and shame, that's not always the case. And it's Ping Pong the Animation's willingness to break off of these preconceptions, especially the ones about losing, that it's able to separate itself from the crowd. The show takes 2 different stances on losing. How losing can lead to revelation and how losing can lead to relief. The losing to revelation idea is nothing new to media. The underdog story, which we've all seen over and over again, can fit into this category. Things like Karate Kid, Rocky, Mulan, The Avengers. The basic formula is that the hero faces an unprecedented loss, but in the end, he's able to overcome the villain. Despite its constant use, this formula isn't a bad thing. Humans are naturally wired to root against the odds. Ping Pong the Animation has its take on this formula with Peko. Even though, when you look at it, Peko was never really the underdog. However, the show also explores 2 other ways in which loss can lead to revelation. The first way comes with Kong. When Kong was initially kicked off his team and shipped from Japan to China, he was arrogant. He saw himself above everyone because he came from the homeland of ping pong. He practiced as hard as anyone else and didn't deserve to play in a place which he saw as low level. After facing a crushing defeat at the hands of both Kazuma and Smile, he starts to get humbled. This is usually where the underdog's story takes place, but instead, in the final tournament, he loses to Peko, the person he 11-0'd in the first episode. When my mom saw this moment, she saw it as disheartening. He lost a game and now he can't go home, but knowing the ending, I saw a different take on the situation. I saw this as the start of a new journey for him. When he first lost, an airplane can be seen flying away from him. This symbolizes his ticket home fleeing, but in the final match, an airplane is coming towards him. To me, this shows how Kong's idea of home has changed. He grew a connection to his teammates which he initially thought weren't worth his time. He made a family. China's decision to just cut him off the team shows how he never really had that same connection over there. This theory of him building a new home is proven at the very end, where Kong chooses to play for Japan's national team over China's. Even though I really love and appreciate Kong's growth, there's one Lost to Revelation story which I enjoy more, and it comes from a character who probably doesn't even get 5 minutes of screen time. I don't even know the character's name, but his story goes like this. He loses bad smile, and when I say bad, I mean bad, and this caused him to think he should quit ping pong. Every couple of episodes we see him in a new setting. He'll be at the ocean one episode and the mountains the next. He's traveling the world trying to find a place where he belongs. In the final episode, a year after he quit ping pong, he decided he might as well go and watch a match. And at that point, he realized that ping pong was the thing he was searching for all along. It's really simple, but it's something I can relate to. At one point in my life, I wanted to be a pro NBA player, but at another, I realized I sucked at basketball. I was never gonna make it, so I quit. I juggled so many hobbies at this time, but I never felt that same joy that came from basketball. Recently, I started playing again. I'm still not that good, but that doesn't matter. You don't have to be the top 1% at something to do it. It's a perspective which can be seen all throughout life, but it feels like the first time I've ever seen it in media. Moving on from Revelation, I want to talk about how Ping Pong the Animation explores how losing can lead to relief. When we first meet Kazuma, we the viewers can sense the seriousness and professionalism that he holds towards the game. As we get to learn his character, we learn that this behavior stems from a complicated family matter which includes his father's death. For him, ping pong isn't just a game. He has to win because he's afraid of what would happen if he loses. He isolates himself in the game, never taking a break. This internal struggle is shown with an imagery of him climbing a cliff. There's no end in sight, but he's already climbed up so far that falling would be fatal. In his final match with Peko, all of his preconceptions of the game are broken. Peko's infinite love for the game allows him to fly in a world which Kazuma thought was impossible. In sports, and even in most parts of life, you could only push yourself so far. Without motivation, it becomes hard to climb. Seeing Peko's pure love for the game helps Kazuma re-find his reason for playing. It allows Kazuma to fly. This idea also flows in Sakuma. Sakuma was a third person in Peko and Smile's friend group. He looked up to Peko, but at the same time he wanted to beat him. He went to a different high school, worked hard, and in the end he was able to accomplish his goal, but it didn't make him feel complete. He ended up facing Smile in a match, and when he lost, it felt like he had no choice but to quit. When I first saw this, it felt like a declaration that to be great, you needed natural talent. Without it, why bother? It's a very negative point of view, but it was how I viewed life. Rewatching the show, I gained a new respect for this topic. He might have quit because he thought he had no talent, but it allowed him to experience life in another way. Moving away from ping pong allowed him to find a girl and eventually create a family. Sakuma was spending all of his time trying to get better at a sport. He was making himself suffer, so him quitting was a secret blessing in the pursuit to find happiness. All these stories and characters are leading to one common idea. Sports are supposed to be fun. The show originally climbed to my favorites list because of how different it was to other shows. It wasn't afraid to dip its toes into complex topics. It wasn't afraid to say that no matter how much effort you put into something, it's not always going to be enough. It's only now that I've realized that while the show can be seen in a negative light, it can also be seen in a positive one. It may not be as well written as something like Steins Gate. It may not have the beautiful world building of something like Made in Abyss, and it may not have the animation of something like Mob Psycho 100. But I still enjoy it more than any of these shows. No matter how many times I watch it, there's always something new that I can take out of it. As I grow, the show grows with me, and I think that's what makes it so special.